Hello everyone, and welcome back to EconExplorers. Today, we're delving into one of the most enigmatic and chilling cases in the history of true crime, the Zodiac Killer. This is a story that has baffled investigators, intrigued armchair detectives, and sent chills down the spines of many for decades. Join me as we explore the full story of this elusive serial killer and the cryptic messages that continue to haunt us. The murders. The Zodiac Killer is an unidentified serial killer who operated in Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. While the Zodiac Killer claimed to have killed 37 people, only 5 murders have been definitively linked to the killer, and 2 survivors have provided descriptions of the attacker. Here are the details of the known Zodiac Killer murders. Lake Herman Road Murder, December 20, 1968. Location: Lake Herman Road in Benicia, California. Victims: the first known victims of the Zodiac Killer were high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. They were shot and killed while parked in a car in a remote area. Blue Rock Springs Park Attack, July 4, 1969. Location: Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, California. The Zodiac Killer's second known attack occurred when he shot Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, who were sitting in a parked car. Ferrin died, but Mageau survived and provided a description of the attacker. Lake Berryessa Stabbing, September 27, 1969. Location: Lake Berryessa in Napa County, California. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were attacked while relaxing by the lake. The Zodiac Killer tied them up and then brutally stabbed them. He also drew a symbol on Hartnell's car door. San Francisco Murder, October 11, 1969. Location: San Francisco, California. Victim: Paul Stein, a cab driver, was shot and killed by the Zodiac Killer in his taxi. This murder led to the infamous Zodiac letters, where the killer taunted the police and media. Presidio Heights Attack, October 11, 1969. A young couple, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, was bound and stabbed at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. The killer drew a symbol on Hartnell's car door. Characteristics of the victims. The Zodiac Killer's known victims were often young couples parked in remote areas. This pattern of targeting couples and young individuals in secluded locations added to the terror surrounding the case. There is a theory that the killer may have been motivated by a desire for power and control over his victims, as well as the notoriety gained from taunting the police and media. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most infamous and unidentified serial killers in American history. Despite many investigations and a number of letters sent to newspapers and law enforcement agencies, the killer's identity remains unknown, and the case remains unsolved. The investigation into the Zodiac Killer's crimes continues to this day. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror began in the late 1960s, with a series of gruesome murders in Northern California. He seemed to prefer targeting young couples in secluded areas, leaving a trail of fear and confusion in his wake. Segment 2: The Cryptic Letters. The mysterious letters and ciphers sent by the Zodiac Killer are among the most perplexing aspects of the case. The killer sent a series of cryptic messages to newspapers, law enforcement agencies, and individuals. These letters and ciphers have both intrigued and baffled investigators and the public for decades. Here are some of the most notable ones and their significance. 408 Cipher, July 31, 1969. The Zodiac Killer's first cipher, known as the 408 Cipher, was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle. It consisted of 408 characters and was solved by a schoolteacher and his wife. The message revealed the killer's desire for slaves in the afterlife, adding an eerie layer to the case. Zodiac's letters. The Zodiac Killer frequently corresponded with newspapers, police, and individuals. These letters were often filled with taunts and threats. One letter contained a piece of Paul Stein's shirt, a victim of the killers, as proof of the murder. The 340 Cipher, 1969. The Zodiac Killer sent a cipher consisting of 340 characters to the San Francisco Chronicle. This cipher remained unsolved for decades, adding to the mystique of the case. In December 2020, a code-breaking team managed to decode the message, which revealed more of the killer's cryptic thoughts but did not provide any concrete clues to his identity. Exorcist Letter, 1974. In this letter, the killer claimed to be possessing a woman's soul and threatened to commit more murders if his message was not published. This letter was particularly disturbing, given the eerie references to the film, The Exorcist. The significance of these letters and ciphers lies in their dual purpose. The Zodiac Killer used them to both communicate with the media and authorities and to taunt and terrorize the public. They served to elevate the killer's notoriety and contribute to the fear and fascination surrounding the case. Deciphering these messages has been an ongoing effort for amateur sleuths and cryptanalysts, and while some have been solved, the killer's true identity remains elusive. One of the most unsettling aspects of this case is the series of cryptic letters sent to newspapers and law enforcement agencies. Some of these ciphers remained unsolved for years, and the killer's taunting messages only added to the intrigue. The investigations. The hunt for the Zodiac Killer has been one of the most enduring and challenging investigations in the history of American law enforcement. Despite numerous attempts to catch the killer, he has never been definitively identified or apprehended. Here are some key aspects of the efforts to catch the Zodiac Killer. Suspects and leads. Various individuals were considered suspects over the years, but none were definitively linked to the crimes. Some of the notable suspects included Arthur Lee Allen, Richard Gaikowski, and Lawrence Kane. Allen was perhaps the most widely known suspect, partly due to his criminal record and the circumstantial evidence against him. However, he was cleared by DNA testing in 2002, though suspicions about his involvement persist. The investigation explored a range of leads, from eyewitness accounts to the examination of the ciphers and letters sent by the killer. These leads, while sometimes intriguing, didn't lead to a conclusive identification. Interagency cooperation. Law enforcement agencies, including the San Francisco Police Department, the Vallejo Police Department, and the Napa County Sheriff's Office, collaborated on the case. Unfortunately, the lack of centralized databases and communication challenges hindered progress. Cipher decryption. As mentioned earlier, the Zodiac Killer sent encrypted messages to newspapers and authorities. While some of these ciphers were eventually solved, they did not provide clear leads to his identity. The killer's taunts and claims often raised more questions than answers. Media and public involvement. The Zodiac Killer actively engaged with the media, sending letters and ciphers to newspapers. This media exposure added to the killer's notoriety but also made it difficult for investigators to separate genuine leads from hoaxes and pranks. Challenges faced. The killer's ability to elude capture and maintain anonymity has been a significant challenge. He did not leave much physical evidence at the crime scenes. The lack of a clear motive for the murders and the randomness of the victims made it difficult to establish a pattern that could lead to the killer's identity. The passage of time has made it increasingly challenging to gather new evidence or find reliable witnesses. Many potential witnesses and suspects have passed away. Law enforcement agencies worked tirelessly to identify the Zodiac Killer, but despite several suspects and leads, they were never able to definitively unmask this enigmatic figure. The Zodiac Killer case continues to be a source of fascination and speculation. If you have any insights, theories, or thoughts about this enduring mystery, please share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more in-depth explorations of true crime mysteries right here on EconExplorers. Until next time, stay curious and keep wondering.